Alright guys, welcome into our weekend news wrap-up. We're inside because it's January, it's the UK, it's freezing, it's raining, but we're still happy in here because we're happy to give you the news that you deserve. It's been a while since I've seen you guys on camera. A few weeks ago I did do a weekend news wrap-up talking about the UN-Israeli settlement resolution. If you're interested in that, I'll put a link down in the description box to my podcast page on SoundCloud. Give it a listen. I personally think there's some really good analysis. I think it's objective, but judge for yourself. A lot of things have happened in the last few weeks about a lot of different issues surrounding Syria, China, but probably the biggest thing that has happened is this whole relationship, or the conception of the relationship between Russia and Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. And specifically, there's been a dossier linked to the press about some compromising materials, alleged compromising blackmail-ish materials that Russia has on Donald Trump. And the allegation basically is that Russia has a lot of compromising material that could paint Trump in a very bad light, and that they could use this material to sort of blackmail Donald Trump into doing things that are favorable towards Russia. Now, there's so many issues surrounding this particular event, one of which is this dossier and these allegations are just that. They are allegations. They are unsubstantiated, and they were leaked by BuzzFeed, a news organization, and there's been a lot of, I guess you could say, outrage from the right, from the conservatives, from Donald Trump's party about these things aren't even substantiated. We can't know if they're true or false. They're unverifiable. And some of the allegations are pretty outlandish, most notably the fact that Donald Trump, when he was in a visit to Russia recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, was engaged in prostitution behaviors in Russia. And you would think certainly Donald Trump would know not to do that the Russian government, that he would know that the Russian government is spying on him and would have that information should he choose to run for president. So I'm not saying whether I think it's true, whether I think it's false. It is really important that because they are unverified claims, we remember that. We don't treat them as completely true, but at the same time, we do need to take the allegations seriously, because if there is a president in power and there are materials that could be used as blackmail, that's a pretty important thing to know. That's a pretty important thing to take into our calculation, and maybe an independent investigation is warranted. But the bigger issue I want to talk about today is this whole issue of fake news. And I'm really, really worried, frustrated, and very perplexed by this whole fake news phenomenon. Most importantly because what's happening, and you can see this with Donald Trump, you can see this with people on the politicians that reign the spectrum from far left to far right. You can see it in business issues. Pretty much any article that is released now from any news organization, whether it's amateur or whether it's the Washington Post or the New York Times, if an article was released, let's say about me, and I find it disagreeable, or it says something that's bad, that casts me in a bad light, instead of in previous years of me having to come and argue against it with facts and say, no, this article is wrong, or this piece of news is wrong because of X, Y, or Z, what's happening and what's becoming fashionable now is people are saying, oh, it's just fake news. It's just fake news. You don't have to trust it. And that's a really, really dangerous precedent, because it means now we don't have to engage in argumentation with facts. If we disagree with something, or if we think something is wrong, or even if it's right, but we want to make sure people don't think that of us, we no longer have to engage in rational discussion. We can just say, oh, it's fake news, and move on. That's a really, really dangerous precedent. And so I just want you guys to be aware, when people are accusing different news organizations or articles of engaging in quote-unquote fake news, understand that very allegation of people saying it's fake news could actually just be a tactic to deflect the focus from the issue onto the news organization itself, and be able to sort of alleviate me of any guilt of having to actually back up or give an excuse or give an account of why that news article is wrong. I could just simply say, oh, it's fake news, and we can move on. So that's what I want you guys to be looking out for. Of course, you're watching this channel, you know there's nothing fake about this channel. Everything is objective. Everything's grounded in reality. I'm always going to give you guys the best and the brightest news advice. So remember, guys, look out for fake news. Have a good weekend. Happy New Year. And remember, reality always trumps ideology.